Okay, can you hear me, Tahsin?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Wait. Okay, can we start right now?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
So,
start.
selamat datang semuanya di live streaming saya. Jadi ini live streaming saya pertama kali. Kalau misalkan nanti ada kendala, misalkan suaranya nggak keluar, atau misalkan nanti ada noise dan lain sebagainya, feel free nanti langsung notice aja ya di komentar. Jadi hari ini kita kedatangan tamu spesial. Aduh, ini spesial buat saya sebenarnya. Jadi beliau itu seorang software engineer di sebuah startup di Singapura dan sekarang posisinya itu sebagai senior software engineer. Jadi di hari ini kita bakal sharing-sharing gimana caranya sesuai judul ya, how to become great software engineering. So let we start from Tahsin. Hello Tahsin, how are you?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Tahsin, and I'm currently living in Indonesia, but I have grown up actually in Bangladesh, and currently I am working as a full stack engineer at a startup in Singapore, and I'm in the industry around 3 years right now. So I feel like I think it's still very early stage for me to have this type of conversation. And yeah, by no means I'm claiming to be an expert in this field. But yeah, I will try my best to share my thoughts, especially in my journey with you guys, so that maybe for those who starting out the career, maybe have some idea or have some sort of thoughts. So yeah, there are a lot of things actually. Me myself, I'm struggling with like following some good practices and fundamental principles. But yeah, I will try my best to share the thoughts. Yeah, so that's who I am.
Okay. So thank you, Tahsin. I really appreciate for your time to coming here to discuss with me and maybe with the other audience. So anyway, do you know how the title is become a great software engineer? How not like how to become great software engineer? Because why I eliminate how to section, because from this video we will not, the purpose is not to teach, but the purpose is for sharing to me and to all audience. So yeah, nice to see you again, Tahsin. And we have been working for 3 years, right?
Yeah, it's around 3 years.
Yeah, and you live here for almost 5 years.
Yes, almost 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when the first time I met you at my previous company, and I think that was amazing journey. We learned from scratch, and we built the system from zero. And yeah, this is amazing journey. So based on the title, what do you think? And what is the things that can make engineer is great?
Okay, I think yeah, that's a good question to start, I guess. So, in my thinking, I guess software engineering, the career itself is way beyond coding. Some people might think that yeah, software engineers all the time they code, they're always busy with IDE code editors. They are such a thing. But on my thinking, it's not just about coding. For example, if you see in companies like Google or maybe Facebook or maybe other big tech companies, I think there are not just one factors, but many factors to evaluate, to assess how great an engineer is. For example, how you are performing, in a team, which role you are playing, or what sort of projects you are working on. There are so many factors. How complex the problem is that you are trying to solve. How much time you are spending, for example. So in general, I guess rather than we think of just one factor, I guess it's a combination of few different factors. Like for example, of course, your programming skills or your programming habits, it plays a big role. But there are other factors like how adaptable, how adaptive. Your adaptability power. If there's new technology, for example, or if there's a new thing, how easily you can adapt yourself with that new thing, which is a pretty tough thing in my opinion. And your leadership skill as well plays a huge role in the to make you a better software engineer. So in general, I guess it's the combination of those skill sets, your adaptability, your leadership skills, of course, your programming skills, your programming habits. I think if we can combine those things and a good combination of those factors is the key, which makes you a better engineer at any places. This is just my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Speaking about adaptability for software engineer, I remember when I meet you at the first time and we working on the same project. At that time, you guys just preparing for some project with programming language PHP, right? Like Laravel. And then when I'm joined, and then we meet our CTO, and suddenly we decide to use Node.js, and we need to develop it within a month. So how you can tackle this?
Yeah, I remember it was a tough time. It was a difficult time, and at the same time, it was fun. Previously, before you joined, I remember the company was using at version 1, if I'm not mistaken. We were referring to that system as version 1. It was using PHP and Laravel and some other technology stack that's right now a bit, not going so well with the modern stack we have right now. So in terms of development, we faced lots of challenges. For instance, it was a quick migration. We were planning to go to the one direction. All of a sudden, we have to go to another direction, which was kind of challenging. And eventually, we came up how, like for example, whenever we faced some difficulties, rather than trying to solve individually, we try to do teamwork all the time. You remember we always try to go to the meetups, not just by one, but as a team. Most of the time we went as a team, right? So to try to gather some ideas. Sometimes we faced some what is that? Complications, how to solve this and that, how we can come up with a result that we want, how to achieve this result. So always by team discussion, research. Yeah, I guess what we have is the adaptability mindset, not the power itself, but the mindset. Taking a new technology or new migration process easily as a team. So I think this was the key, in my opinion, which made the process possible, and it's pretty successful right now.
Yeah. So the first point to be a great software engineer is adaptability with environment, with technology, and with anything that we will face in the future. So yeah, and as you mentioned that software engineer is not only about code, it's also about you are not writing the code for yourself, right? If you work with yourself alone, it's okay. You can just code for yourself. But if we have a team, okay, this very challenging. So you code not only for yourself but also for your team. How you can maintain this?
That's a good question. So if you work within a team, I think there are so many things that you have to keep in mind. So as this is not something that you are going to work by yourself alone. For instance, in terms of coding, writing codes, yeah, of course, when you work within a team, I think uh, the main thing we should focus is your code maintainability, the way we write code. Code readability plays a very important role in terms of coding within a team, I guess, as well as, of course, documenting. So for code readability, this is something actually I'm very passionate about, and I think what I'm trying to say is, for example, I've seen developers that tries to give least focus on the maintainability or readability rather on the output. But I think this is things shouldn't be like this. Things shouldn't be like this. Of course, there are a few times that we have to focus on the output itself, but we have to make ourselves very passionate about it. So this is something that if we continue to practice and practice more and more, it will be an automatic process. Of course, this is not overnight process. We have to train ourselves to always following the good practices, always following the good practices. I think this is what I'm trying to focus on mostly, code readability. And documenting is important because I think this is not something you are building for yourself. Of course, when you work as a team, you need proper understanding. So if you have the power or if you have the skill to make good documentation of this is something I guess make you stand out. Also it also represent, I guess, how organized you are. For example, if you can write good documents, and it's also very important, I guess, pretty much everywhere. Because let me tell you something that whenever I get, for example, job interview, 7 or 8 out of 10, they ask me these questions: how good are you at writing documents, writing documentations? So no matter you are a junior or senior engineers or whatever, I think this is the skill you might wanna get good at
Yeah.
writing good documentations. Previously, yeah, it was also I was also on that side that I did not like writing the documentations when maybe I was working with you. You were the one who always
Yeah.
wrote the good documentations and data flow diagram, all these things. But right now, at this point of time, I am realizing that yeah, this is very very important part as well. So whenever yeah I get time, I try to manage time other than my coding, writing good documents, not just because it will sharpen my skill, but because it will also help my team to be on the same page, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. We will speak about documentation later, but the second point to become a great software engineer is taking care of your code. Okay. Taking care means keeping the quality, but as we know, quality versus speed. What do you think? If you're taking care the quality, of course the speed will be slow. Okay. If you focus on the speed, of course the quality will be not maintainable, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think? How you deal with this thing?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So I think we have to keep a balance between these two. So for example, on my past, of course, we all of us come to a certain point, but throughout the journey, we learn from our our journey. So previously, I was also kind of like this, like taking too much time making my code prettier. By time I realized it, yeah, sometimes it makes me slower on giving output, for example. So then after that, I learned about a concept called be pragmatic programmer. What does it mean? At first, to be honest, I did not have idea about what is a pragmatic programmer. So sometimes we have to think about the business logic, what we are trying to build. Is performance matter over there, or how quickly I have to make an output over there? In those cases, if the case is like that I have to make an output as soon as possible, no matter what. So I have to what I usually do is I try to follow general practices. Of course, that does not mean that I will write whatever I want in the to make a fastest output. I will try the general practices. Of course, I will not think about the efficiency that much, which might make me slower, as I have to as I'm worried about giving output as fast as possible. So maintaining a general standard and making an output as fast as possible is my concern over there. But when I see that when I have enough time to build a thing, I have enough time to research. Yes, this is when I have to worry about my code performance. I have to worry about my code quality. I will check and double check maybe. And these are some things when you do it over and over again will come up to your hands. You will get the pattern. You don't have to take too much of time to make your code as standard as possible.
Yeah, interesting. So the third point, how to become great software engineer, is following the best practice, right? And we also need to be taking wise decision between keeping the speed or the quality. Okay, so back to the next topic, speaking about documentation. All humans in the earth know that technical people, they don't like to write documentation. And you have such an experience when we develop some system or huge application, but there is no documentation. And at the point we think that, oh, we need documentation. how you can like motivate yourself to writing documentation?
Well, yeah. When I see that it's a massive project, it's a pretty complicated project, complex project, and unfortunately, there is no good documentation, or maybe no documentation at all. It's pretty frustrating and disaster as well in
Yeah.
terms of maintaining the system or maintaining the code base. Especially if there is a new developer or not the developer who developed initially the project. So in those cases, I try to not just motivate myself as well as the team, whoever working on which aspect of the application, which side of the application, try to document it. For example, if a project has, that project has maybe hundreds or 200 of API calls, uh, whoever working, I try to, for example, this is actually kind of my recent experience. There was no such documentation. So what I did is I did a small sharing session with my team, how we are gonna document the APIs, for example. So well, maybe we have 10 developers over there. Yeah, some developers working on this API, some developers working on that APIs. Whatever APIs you are working on, write documents this way, and we can later on refer to those documents over here, over there. So create pretty good instructions, give them a good instructions, and slowly take a small portion and put it in the document. Slowly make documents. So if we work within a team, if it's a complex project, if we work within a team in terms of documentation, I think it gets pretty easy rather than you work all by yourself. You will feel like it's wasting your time all the time you are working over there. So if it's a very massive thing, I think it's always a good thing to start with something small and try to do with a team. If your team are not in the same page, at first try to bring them to the same page. Try to do that with a pattern. So I think this is the key. Yeah.
Interesting. We also do a lot of like refactoring. At some point we think that our code is not maintainable, and we used to implement automated things, right? Like TDD is part of that, right? We are automate our testing, TDD and BDD, and also like end-to-end tests. So how important is it?
You mean
how important this automated things? Yes.
Automation is important. Actually, for example, there are a lot of things that you do manually. It can be anything. It can be you are testing an API again and again, over and over. You are maybe, for example, doing some sort of operation in the database with the same pattern again and again. Or, for example, in my recent experience, it's actually tournament-based platform. So what is the ridiculous thing is, like, you have to create a tournament all the way from web, and manually everything. You have to log in one user by one user over there, join one by one. Lots of things. And the thing is, the sad thing is, from my thinking, some people actually do not take it, seriously. It's okay with them. It's okay with them to do it manually. But I think it's a pretty good chance in this type of scenario that automate those things. For instance, maybe you will remember it also. When we were working together, there were some manual things that we had to do, when we were working with bank system, integrating our system with the bank system, calling the bank API and so on. Over there, I think, if I'm not mistaken, created a tool to automate that process, so that not just me, other developers, if they do not know the process, they can just still test those things or utilize those things. Or we also built automation tool for the data migration, or user token generator. And a few days ago, the example I have given right now, the tournament manually adding. So I automated that process. It actually helps a lot when you can come up with a tool, such automation tool. Now it will not just sharpen your skill, but also help you as well as your team. So when you see that, what is the rule of thumb of automation? When you feel like that this repetitive things annoying you, if it feels annoyed, and or this is something that you have to do over and over, maybe more than 10 times, I think it's a pretty good chance to automate that thing, which not only, as I said, not only will save your time, but will sharpen your skill, will your team can utilize it, lots of things. So I think it's very important to automate things.
Yeah. So the fourth point for to become great software engineer is work as efficient as we can, right? Yeah, we remember when we don't have any automation tools and so on, and when we implement automation like CI/CD, we tried CI/CD model many times, right? For 2 years maybe. We tried another best practice. This best practice it doesn't work. This best practice doesn't work, but at some point, the best practice will not always work in our implementation, and so that we try to our approach, right? So and in another point also, we think that we need to implement like design pattern and so on. So this question is related with design system. So how you can decide to use these things, and these things between following the best practice or using our approach?
Well, I think it's actually a very important skills to have by the time you are growing yourself, having a proper having the ability to taking better decision in terms of maybe programming, what sort of pattern you should use, or maybe, for example, knowing the data structures, proper data structures, or algorithms, or what sort of pattern I have to use to design the applications. So this is actually, I think you have to by time improve yourself. Need to keep the mentality to improve yourself. And as I said, this is also not an overnight process. I'm still actually this is an endless journey. So by the time I get many new insights from the people around, more seniors around me, or more better idea from the people around me, trying to learn something from them. So I think it's very important to give priority to writing the give priority to getting the skill set about data structures, algorithms, and as well as the design patterns. Not just for cracking the coding interviews, but to make you a better decision maker in terms of programming. For example, you were writing this functionality, we're making this functionality if you know the proper pattern, if you know the proper structure to use over there to make it as efficient as possible, you can take decision pretty quickly and as well as make your code base as efficient as possible for you as and for your team. So it's very important.
Yeah. We have 7 minutes left, but I have 2 questions. Again, the next question is how you avoiding overkill implementation as software engineer. So let's say we want to implementing 10 design pattern in our project that which is overkill.
Can you repeat the last part again? I couldn't hear you properly.
Let's say we want to implement 10 design pattern, or maybe we want to implement some touchy things. So how you can avoiding overkill implementation as a software engineer?
Again, I think team discussion is very important over there. So as not just individually taking decisions, but as a team, I guess we have to discuss together why, from which specs it's an overkill process, and why we do not need, why it's not necessary, or how we can improve it. So I think it will be a team discussion rather than individual decisions. Of course, individually you will inspect the whole flow, and after that you come up with some points and have a team discussion. Then maybe if necessary refactor it, if necessary take certain steps or certain decision as a team. So I will go with my team surely.
Yeah. What is the popular quote? The premature of is the development.
I guess premature optimization is the root of all evil. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We always have to, like for example, sometimes we take so many thinkings, we spend time on so many thinkings, what is going to happen in the future, how it's going to perform well. But no, sometimes it's an overkill. We don't have to think that far. First, come up with a structure, working structure, make it work first. Then maybe think about the efficiency. So maybe always not the case, but yeah, most of the time.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I have a last question. So how you can still keep your skill? Right now, you are as a senior software engineer, you need to split your daily activity between mentoring your team and then as individual contributor. And do you have any little tips for other people out there?
Well, I think there's the fact about myself that when someone referred to the title, the senior, this is something actually I try to give least focus on. For example, I feel like it establishes a very outdated hierarchy, in most organizations. Organizations, such title, the word, the senior implies sort of superiority over the junior employees. And they see it like as a badge of honor and, as sort of certification, I should say confirmation that they are a worthy employee. But I try to not see it as from that perspective, rather, focus on what I am doing other than the title itself. For example, if an employee works for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, for example, of course, the responsibility is getting bigger, the reliability on you getting broader, and you might need to manage your team, you might need to maintain the code base as well, for example. So those are some things actually will come up eventually, whether or not you have the title. So about the title, I guess it does not make me feel special, but my contribution for what I can do for my workplace, for my team, for myself, or for the company is what actually makes me feel great. And yes, I have to, by the time goes, I have to sharpen my skill set on coding, as well as maintaining my team. This is what I was not used to earlier of my career. I was not comfortable with, like, I do not have the proper capability to manage a team, a group of people. But I think this is this is important by the time you progress through your career. So nowadays, I am trying to, whenever possible, trying to manage a group of people. Maybe it's a small team, but still, I believe it will, also make improve my leadership skill as well. So as much as possible, right now I try to manage the team as good as possible. Maybe I'm not that good yet, but I try my best. I try to learn from them as well. And of course, most importantly, what I love to spend time on coding. So I think most of the time I will my most priority will be spending time on coding by the time I progress through my career, but as well as I will always try to keep them both, maintaining people.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we have one minute left. So let's we wrap up our discussion today. How to become a great software engineer. And the first is we need to adaptation. Okay, so we need to keep in mind that the technology is very dynamic, so we need to follow and then always sharpen our skill. The second is we are not only code for ourselves but also for our team, so taking care of our code is important. And yeah, there is a lot of things that we have discussed here, and hopefully we will have another session again to discuss live in YouTube. So that's all for our discussion today, Tahsin. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your sharing today. It's really important. And yeah, we will see you again next time. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.